Fox and the Crane. In a big forest, there was a big pond. A flock of cranes lived there. All the cranes lived by feeding on the fishes in the pond and spent their life happily. In the same forest, there lived a cunning fox named Tricky. Tricky too visited the pond and used to catch fishes. A crane called Whitey helped Tricky, every day. Slowly they became friends and started spending their time together. One day, Tricky invited Whitey for dinner so that he could treat Whitey. Whitey dressed up and with grapes left for Tricky's house. Tricky welcomed his friend and they spoke for some time, while the aroma of the soup filled the place. Whitey couldn't resist himself. Tricky guessed it and went in to bring soup. Tricky wished to play a prank on Whitey, so he poured the soup in 2 plates and placed it on the table. Whitey, who was eager to taste the soup, was shocked as the soup was on the plate. Tricky started to enjoy the soup while Whitey was puzzled. He could not drink the soup as it was on the plate. Whitey, with the empty stomach, returned back home. He was very upset and decided to teach Tricky a lesson, and thought of a plan. Next day, when Tricky came, Whitey moved with him as usual. Whitey told Tricky, "I was delighted by the way you treated him, come for a dinner at my place tonight." In the evening, Tricky arrived at Whitey's home. Both of them chatted for some time. Whitey has prepared the soup and the aroma filled the place. Tricky's mouth watered. Whitey went in and came with soup in 2 deep long jars and placed them on the table. Tricky was shocked when he saw the jars. The excited Tricky tried to drink from the jar. The moment he bent down, the jar struck in his mouth. He tried to remove the jar, but he could not do it. In anger, hungry Tricky left the home. But he felt bad that he had done the same thing to his friend. Next day, Tricky apologized to Whitley, "Forgive me, my friend. From now, I have learned a lesson and will not play any tricks and will be a good friend." Moral of the story: one should not try to make fun of the other's limitation.